Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode with the Afro Atheist and a very special guest, Tersia Du Plessis. Hey, Tersia, finally,
At last,
finally.
planning. We've been planning so long, and you know, the universe was with us because we have what we call in South Africa load shedding. So we have problems with our electricity utility, which is owned by the government. And at 4 o'clock, the power went out, and I thought it was a scheduled outage. And then about 2 hours later, I got this message on WhatsApp that it was not scheduled, and that it's actually something was wrong, and the electricians were working. And I'm so glad that the power is back on. We about 10 minutes ago, power came back on. So this
Wow.
was prov- providence. It was
Mm-hmm.
providence
Okay.
that finally enabled us to make contact.
Nice. Nice. I'm glad that you're here. So, is there a chance that the power will go out again?
I doubt it. No, I don't think so. I think it will
Okay.
stay on.
All right.
Yes,
So
yes.
just in case you just go missing from the screen, I know that power's gone.
Well, anything can happen, but then I'll run
Okay.
to my bedroom and I'll get my tablet, and I hope
Okay.
that the sound quality is good. Is there a lag, Esther? Do I need to speak really slowly?
I think what you might need to do, Tessia, maybe go out and then come back in again. Okay? Because you were good a minute ago.
Okay, it's fine. If you don't think there's a lag, then that's fine.
No, I don't think
I,
I actually don't think there's a lag.
oh, fantastic. Then don't stay where
Okay.
you are.
All right
So
then. Okay,
I'm
but
telling
before
you in your show to stay where you are. Oh,
Tessia, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, before we do anything, let's acknowledge the people in the chat. Tessia, I have somebody who he's always first. He's always first. He's always the first one in the chat. And no other person but Steve McRae, manager. There's a
hello,
there's a
Steve.
ch- there's a challenge on this channel. Whoever is first for a period of time. I haven't really set the time yet. We'll figure this out. Whoever this person is, I get to meet the person. Um, I get to meet them in person.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
deal. Yeah, that's the
Oh,
deal. So
wow.
yes, right. So there's a challenge. So
Well,
but so
pleased to
far
meet you,
so good.
Steve.
So far so good. It's looking like it's going to be Steve. But there's someone else contending for this spot. Someone else
So who?
contending for this spot. Ian
Uh,
Davenport.
pleased to meet you,
So
Ian.
I don't think Ian's here now, but never mind. We'll
Oh,
have that
oh,
conversation.
okay. Well,
Also, sorry, Tessia, we have James Apperson's here. James, hello, good to see you. Uh, and of course, we have the Caribbean skeptic secularist who is behind in the back. We can't see him, but he's helping run things. So thank you, Phil. Phil, he's always very reliable. Sometimes, James says, sometimes my brain has lag, and then people have to talk really. Your brain has it lag. Steve McRae says, I am the king of the chat. Look at the
absolutely.
trees. Therefore, God. Yes, look at the trees. Hey, look at
Oh,
the
yes, of
trees.
course. Just have some wine. I'll drink to that. I will drink to that. This will be my. So I was telling Phil that
Coffee.
in,
I'm having coffee.
okay, but it's summer in the Western Cape, and I live in wine country. So I'm having BC Sauvignon Blanc, and the sun is
Ooh.
just, well, it's dark now. It's dark out, but the
Ooh.
fan is on because it's hot. And so I'll drink to that. Look at the trees.
Oh, wow. Once you see, look at the trees, just know you've, therefore, God. God is somewhere lurking. He's there somewhere. Hmm.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, who else? Ian Davenport is on his fake island. Ian Davenport is from Australia, and Steve McRae, manager, reckons that it's a fake island.
Fake. It's well, it is fake. I mean, obviously,
What?
it doesn't
You agree?
exist. You know, didn't you know I'm a flat earther too?
Okay. All right,
I'll
Tessia.
drink to that.
You're going to do a lot of drinking tonight, then. At this rate, Tessia.
No, 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 no. I'll behave myself. I'll behave myself.
Okay. Oh, you've got a fan. I'm a big fan of Tessia. I watch her on a different channel pretty often. Oh, Tessia. Mm-mm.
Thank you, James. I appreciate that. It's nice to know that somewhere in the world I have a fan. I think you'll be the first, maybe the only. You know,
No,
Esther, isn't it
hang on,
amazing?
hang on, hang on. Add me to that number.
Oh,
Add me to
wow.
that number. What are you talking
I just
about?
want to say, oh, Esther, you know, there's two things. Well, there's one thing in life. I'm still really sorry that I didn't meet you. That I didn't have
Right.
time to get to meet you when I was in the UK in
That's
August.
fine. That's
Um,
fine.
but it was, you know, it was so bad. We were so busy, and 3 weeks just flies by. But I'm going to save up, and and maybe you can come and visit me in wine
Yeah,
country. Let's drink
yeah.
to that.
Come and see you and
And
see my friend Dean Kruger.
oh yes, we can get it. We can arrange a fantastic get together. Can I tell you a story about myself and Dean?
Go on.
Uh, I'm sure the audience will enjoy it. So I turned 49 on the 25th of January, and if all goes well, I'll turn 50 on the 25th
Mm.
of January of next year. So for my 49th birthday, I invited a few godless heathen, and one of the people I invited was Dean. And I think it was a Sunday as it happened, and it was extremely hot and extremely humid. It was really uncomfortably hot and very atypical weather for where we live because we don't get thunderstorms. I think in the 11 years that I've lived here, I experienced two thunderstorms. One was in the first year that we lived here in 2012, and the second one was in January of this year on my birthday. And so thunder and lightning is extremely rare. And as all the guests were here, and it was late, sort of late afternoon, and this thunderstorm built up, and it was thunder and lightning, and it was actually quite scary. Not much rain. I don't think it rained at all. And Dean was here, and after the guests left, my friend, who happens to be my former neighbor, let me know that their house, which is about 100 meters away from where we used to live for 8 years, was struck by lightning and was
Mm.
set on fire. So maybe there is a God, you know, because, but his aim was out.
Uh, so never mind, never mind. But Dean is a lovely, awesome person. He is. I would say
I
that.
know he is,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
he's amazing. And I've had the honor to spend many hours online with him, and to have met him in person.
That's
So
lovely.
yes, no, he's one of the nicest people I know. Absolutely.
Okay. So we've got D Badro. Hello, D. Good to see you. Inquisitor Bacon. Good to see you. Oh wow, it's been a while. I haven't seen you in a little while. Little while. But it's good to see you, Inquisitor Bacon. James Apperson is I am a flat universer. So
Okay,
not a
I can
flat
go with
earther,
that.
but a flat universer.
Is it flat or is it sort of disc shaped? I don't
Hmm.
know. Um,
Okay.
I could go
Dean's
with a
here.
flat unit.
Dean's here.
Hello, Dean.
Uh, right. This is I love the thunderstorm. No, I don't. I personally don't.
I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Flat earthers are confused.
Esther, I think we need to have a chat with Mr. Apperson. I used to be flat chested when I weighed about 10 kilos lighter than I do now, but now I'm no longer flat chested.
Gosh. So when the flat earthers see my bra, then what are they going to do? Because mine are huge. So I don't know. It's going to be a huge flat earth, I think.
Sorry, that was a mosquito.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Right, Tessia. Before we get started, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
A little
I mean,
bit.
whatever you're comfortable in sharing.
Oh, I'm actually I'm too open. I don't have any inhibitions, and I have no secrets. I'm an open book. I will try to keep it as brief as possible because my main problem is I talk too much and I don't stop if you give me a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in rural South Africa. I will be 50 next year. And it's important to say that because it means that if you can do any bit of calculation, it means that I'm actually a white person who grew up in the dying days of the apartheid regime. And it's very relevant to who I am because I was always, well, not always, since I became an individual person in my own right, which was about 10. I felt that the race discrimination that was happening in my country was wrong, despite the fact that I was immersed in it and I'm a beneficiary of it, whether I
Mm.
want to acknowledge that or not. Because the fact that if I was dark skinned and I was born um, at the same time that I was born, my life would have been completely different.
Yes.
And so I grew up in a very conservative, fundamentalist Christian household, and I was completely immersed in it. I completely believed it. And then when I was about 40, I started to think for myself. And the only pride I can take in it is that that was before the internet. It
Mm.
was it was sort of I, the irony is that my deconversion started because I was so serious about my faith that I wanted to meet God, and the only way I knew was to read the Bible. And when I was in my 40s, I started to read the Bible on my own. And as a person who's always been fond of reading and literature and has a literature degree, the moment I started to read the Bible like I've always read any other book, I realized it was myth and I couldn't stake my life on it.
Mm.
And that I deconverted, and I've been a very happy and content non believer, infidel, atheist, humanist since about 2012. I've been openly identifying as an atheist, and I'm very fortunate to say that it hasn't cost me my marriage, and
Mm.
both my parents converted. My Most of my immediate family are non-believers, and those who aren't accept me for who I am. And I'm I'm a I'm a very lucky person,
Oh wow.
and
Yes.
it really is lucky because
Yes.
you know uh, we are the products of our genes, of our environment, of the opportunities we get, and I can take credit for none of that. So
Mm.
yes, that's who I am, and I'm a teacher at heart. I'm a teacher and a learner. Okay, so now I'll shut up.
Yes. Okay. Now, listen, fantastic. Because when you talk about South Africa, you look at the the makeup of the people there. It's an African country, but because of the history of what's happened, right? You get people who are like yourself, right? Who are also South Africans, right? But I love the fact that your you own your position. You know that you have this privilege simply because of just give me 1 second. At the best of times, a knock on the door. Give me 1 second. So simply, I mean, because of you recognize that you have an advantage, right? And even as you recognize that, you still would stand up for everyone who identifies as South African. And that I can appreciate. I can appreciate that 100%. And these are the conversations that we need to keep on having, and, you know, we are all people at the end of the day. We are all people, right? Whatever skin color that we have, we all bleed blood. We are all the same.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
thank you.
If I can say something about being a white South African Afrikaans speaking
You you
woman.
carry
So
on.
the
You carry
only
on, Tessia. You carry on speaking. My son wants me for 1 minute, and I'll be back.
you're a
Just
mom.
carry on speaking.
Uh,
Of course.
she'll be back. She'll be back. I hate being on the screen by myself. The camera has a very nasty eye. But I wanted to say that as a white South African woman who grew up in an Afrikaans speaking community, my ancestors are directly, not even indirectly, responsible for gross injustices against my fellow South Africans, to quote our President Ramaphosa. But despite that, and owning that has been the one of the most freeing experiences of my life, because I can't deny it. But if you don't own who you are, you can't become who you were meant to be. And to me, that is the purpose of our lives, our very brief lives on earth. And as an Afrikaans speaking South African white person, I have to confess that I am in a minority, and I know what it feels like to be in a minority. Because in South Africa, if you are non religious, and if you are white or black, non religious, you are in a minority. And minorities are treated differently to what majorities are treated. So that gives me, I think, some insight into what it feels like to be a minority. And I think we need to hear one another's stories, because if we don't hear true stories, real people's stories, then we don't know how to walk in one another's shoes. And to me, that is what humanism is about. So long before I'm an atheist, I'm a humanist. And I think those values are more important to me than the fact that I no longer accept that there is anything supernatural. So that's who I am. And I hope to model that in everything I do. And while I'm hoping that Esther will be back soon, because I hate doing a monologue, I absolutely
Esther's
hate it.
back.
Esther's back. I'll drink to that.
Esther's definitely back. Right. Hey, Uncle Beck. We've got Uncle Beck in chat. Hey. Let's see. Somebody, I said something. Oh, James Appleton says, I too grew up in a conservative Christian fundamentalist household. Switching to left side views and values happened early in adulthood, but outgrowing theism didn't happen until I was 41 years old.
Seems that
Interesting.
41 is the age, because that was about when it happened to me.
I was
Um,
40.
yep. Yeah, something happens when, so it seems the answer to life, the universe, and everything is around about 40, not 42.
40. There's what's that adage that talks about the age of 40? When you hit 40, they say life begins. Yes, that's it. Life
Life
begins
begins
at
at
40.
40.
That's what some people believe that. Mm. Right. So, Tessia, we're going to talk about my favorite subject, religion in South Africa. What's
Mine
that
too.
like? What's that like? I've
Hmm.
seen we've seen videos. Okay, before we do anything, let me remind people, just give me 1 second. Let me do something quickly. Um, let's do something. Okay. Just a reminder of religion in South Africa. This is a very popular event that happened over there. So let's go and have a look.
Is it the petrol one?
This one.
Question. Would
Just
you
give me
build
a
a
sec.
website for a major brand with more than 200 million users?
What is his name?
Jesus.
Elliot. Hello, Elliot. Elliot. Elliot.
Jesus.
Lift your hands. Lift your hands. La calamasa. Barabansa tabasa. Set.
Olaba. Olaba. Man is commanding life.
Yes. Come on! Hey! Hey!
Jesus.
He was dead. He's now alive. Jesus said, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we ask and hope for. Look at him. The coffin is empty.
Jesus. To the Lord. All I have to say. Jesus. 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 Somebody scream.
Tessia, the dead man, I bet he must have been starving, must have been on a very long journey, right? But I'm sure you remember this one.
I'm familiar with it. Yes, I am also familiar with. You won't be aware of him because he's Afrikaans speaking.
Right.
His name is. He's actually, if you understand Afrikaans, he's brilliant. His ministry is called Fire Ministries, and he drives
Mhm.
out devils. He actually raised enough money to go to the Ukraine. Why? To hand
To
out
do what?
Bibles. To hand out
Oh my
Bibles because
goodness.
that's what the people in Ukraine need. You know, they need Bibles. Um,
Wh-
and
Wait, English
so
Bible or Afrikaans Bible?
I, I have no idea. I hope they were at least Ukrainian Bibles. I mean, otherwise, the people. Well, maybe if you pack Bibles in sandbags, I think they could stop certain bullets if fired from far enough. You know, regardless of the language, I suppose.
Well, it's God's
Um,
word, so you never know. God's word can stop the bullet. So I don't know. Gosh, you
yeah.
taking
So
Bibles to
I'm
Ukraine?
familiar. Ukraine. Yep,
Hmm.
I'm familiar with the entire spectrum, from the very normal, traditional, Reformed Lutheran type formal church service, where you come in very ritualistic and all very sedate. Um, that's the tradition that I grew up in, and that most white people in South Africa belong to. And then you move on the spectrum. So if you think of a spectrum, and you have on the right, you have the very conservative, sedate type of traditional service, and then you move along that spectrum up to the most charismatic. That's now where you have the African. It's something that's always interested me about religion in South Africa. So the way white people practice their religion is quite different from the way
Mm.
black people practice their religion. Traditionally, and I'm stereotyping here, so I'm
Okay.
disclaimer. But most black people are more expressive. You know, you have the music
Mm.
and the
Mm.
dancing and the speaking in tongues. Well, especially in the Afrikaans community that I'm from, you have a more cerebral, sedate, sort of calm type of religion. Um, the white Afrikaner God is stern and strict, and he doesn't speak in tongues, although that has changed. And so I've lived the right part of the spectrum, but I'm very
Mhm.
familiar with the more charismatic part. And it is my conviction that as we stand now, the most dangerous aspect of religion in South Africa and perhaps in Africa is this fusion between the charismatic and the fundamentalist with the African traditional beliefs.
Oh wow.
Because to my mind, that is a very dangerous combination. Because you
Mm.
see, in the tradition that I grew up in, you box everything. So you compartmentalize. So you go to church on Sundays, and that's one part of your life. But once you're out of church, you have a sort of a different life, and there's no real connection between those two types, those two spheres of your existence. But in the traditional African life worldview, there's integration, which is good. It should be like that. But now you have a fusion of traditional African values and spiritualism and superstition. And people live their lives according to those rules. So there's not the Western traditional sort of compartmentalizing. And that's even more dangerous, because that means that regular people who are perhaps misinformed and are not trained in skepticism, often
Mhm.
they don't have proper exposure to uh, understanding the language. And that's not because they're stupid, it's because they are simply uninformed. There's a
Right.
big difference between being stupid and being uninformed. And I specifically say uninformed, because that just means you haven't been told. And in South Africa, most people are not native
Timothy
English
Omotoso,
speakers.
a 58-year-old Nigerian pastor, is
Sorry.
So there's also a language barrier. And
Mm.
as an educator, I've lived that. And it's a very, very harmful mixture, because now you get charlatans like the spiritual
Yes.
traditional healer that I went to visit, who
Oh,
preys on people who are suffering. I sent you a voice note. Do you
you
by
did.
chance have it? Do you
We
think?
do you want to do that now, or
Well,
you want to do
you're
it
the
now?
boss. You tell me. Maybe it's a
Before
good idea.
before before we get to your the voice note, I want to ask
Well,
you a
it's a
question. Oh,
recording. Actually, it's a
okay.
recording. When I
Yeah.
visited this
Oh,
guy,
it's a
I had my
recording.
cell phone and I was recording it. Yeah,
You went undercover,
I went
basically.
undercover.
And
Yep.
I'm keen to hear it. Really keen. I haven't listened to it because, when you sent it, I didn't want
Oh,
to
okay, good.
make sure that I didn't listen to it before the stream. So, but now this is something, a trend that I have noticed, and I would like for you to tell me what your thoughts are. A lot of preachers leave their various countries in Africa and move over to South Africa. They start off their own branches of their own church. Some even go as far as to move the headquarters of their church to South Africa, right? I can name quite a few of them. Number one, Bushiri. He's number one.
Yep. Yep.
Number two, uh, Chris Oyakilome. Chris Oyakilome one time had
I'm familiar with
a
him.
he had a healing school, right? I wondered at the time why you need to teach people about healing. Didn't healing happen spontaneously? Was that not a God thing? Why are we having a school for healing? That was another one. Then there was another one. What's it? There's another one. Let's see. There's many of them that have gone over.
There's
Like
loads.
Aflukau. Af
Yep.
Aflukau is not originally South African, right? And so there must be something about the South African people. There must be something about the culture. There must be something about them that is accepting of these people and allowing them to come and start off churches, start off organizations. And these men become wealthy. Someone like Bushiri. Bushiri has become so wealthy, he transfers the money from South Africa to Malawi, where he's from, right? But right now he's under investigation, thankfully. But what is it? And when you're done answering the question, there's another something else I need you to see. I want to know if you know anything about this particular man.
Show
What are
me.
your thoughts? Why? You would like to see the video?
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me say. Before we watch the video, I'm actually very cynical about that. I think it's not so much that the population is more superstitious or more susceptible to the type of scamming that's going on. I think that South Africa is an easy target. Number one, there's no competition with Islam. So
Mm,
you can do your Christian version of and your Christian Western type brand of charismatic healing ministry, very similar to the United States. You can do that without any competition from Islam because Islam is a minority in South Africa.
right.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing is South Africa is also very prone to corruption. South African politicians uh, and the government governing party that I am a subject of, if you want to put it like that, is a corrupt organization, and they have not hesitated to use Christianity to their advantage. Jacob Zuma has proclaimed many times, the former president, that South Africa will remain under ANC government until Jesus Christ returns. He is a regular attendee at these healing and prayer ministries and churches that make
Wow.
loads of money, and they get away with it. So I'm very cynical
Mm,
in regards. Those are the two reasons. It's not about the general populace. It's about the system of government and the fact that there's no competition from Islam.
right. Okay. Interesting. That's an interesting take on things. But that's a conversation that we still need to carry on having because at some point I think they need to have more regulations on these men and women that come from other countries into South Africa. It's like South Africa is like a very lovely, it's a lovely place, but then it's also
It's a tax.
a
It's a tax haven. It's about money. It's
is it
about money, Esther.
right?
It's
Okay,
about money.
there has to be
It's about
something.
money.
There has to be
It's about
something.
money.
Okay,
It's about money.
so we have a request. Beach, hey Beach. Beach says the Afro Atheist, please play her undercover recording first before I play my other video. But never mind, we'll do that. Okay, so let's before we play this recording, Tersia, you want to tell us what this is about before we do that?
I'll give a very short synopsis. So in the
Okay.
town that I live, but not only in my town, all over South Africa, there's a proliferation of what are called traditional healers, and they must have lots of money. I've actually posted on Twitter and Facebook many examples of the leaflets that they distribute. They have posters up. They rent offices. In the square kilometer surrounding my house, which is in the town center, there are at least 3 of these traditional healers where you can go for a consultation. And I've often seen their advertisements, and they only charge about 100 rand. So the rand dollar exchange rate is now, I think, 1 rand. Uh, $17 buys you 1 rand, and I think 21 pounds buys you, no, 1 rand. Yeah, 21 pounds buys you 1 rand. Is that right? Does it make sense?
$21
Uh,
buys you 1 rand. Oh no, one rand equals $21. No, $21 equals 1 rand. Okay, I
No,
get
no,
that.
other way around. Yeah, yeah.
$21
So,
equals
so,
one
so,
rand.
yeah. So
Gosh,
they
gosh,
must have lots of.
the South African money is good then. Oh
No,
my.
no, it's the other way
You know,
around. It's very weak. It's weak. So,
no, it
so
isn't. No,
no,
Tessia, I
no. Then
beg
I'm
to differ.
wrong because it's weak.
No,
So the
hang on.
exchange.
Tessia, let me
So
prove a point
okay.
to you. Let me prove a point. Give me 1 second.
While you do that, um,
Nigerian currency, Nigerian naira to, did you say pounds or dollars?
mm, I think it's
What did,
£17 to the $17 and
so
21
to,
pound to the rand.
okay. So let's see, what is it in Nigerian 0.23? Let's see. So one Nigerian naira equals, how much is it now? Um yeah, so no, that can't be the case. $1 equals
One pound is
443.
21 rand, and $1 is 17 rand.
Oh
That's
wow.
the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then
I
in
don't know how the naira
Nigeria at the moment, $1 equals 443 naira. It's more than that. It's way
Yeah,
more than that. I
I
don't know. I
think
think
the
you must
naira
be
might be stronger. But never mind that.
okay.
The These people have lots of money because they print leaflets that they distribute all over town, and
Hmm.
they charge 100 rand, which is about £2 and about $3 for a consultation. And I've always wondered what happens at these consultations. What do they tell people? What do they do? So last year, I put my money where my mouth is, and I paid 100 rand, and I went to consult. It's a consultation, one of these traditional healers. And it works like this. So you first, well, I don't know if it works like this all the time. So I paid my 100 bucks, which is quite a lot of money to me, but not that much. So maybe 4 coffees. And then the person that I spoke to, he saw me for about 5 minutes. And he said, no, I have to come back 4 days later because the main healer is not there at that moment. But what is my problem? What would I like to see him about? And I must come back for a follow-up consultation. So
Okay.
for this follow-up consultation with Professor, please note, Professor Abasi. Professor
Professor
Abasi.
Abasi. Right.
Professor
Is he
Abasi.
Nigerian by
And
any chance? Is he Nigerian by any
I
chance?
have
That name rings a
I
bell.
have
That name
no
sounds like
idea.
a
I have
Nigerian
no
name.
idea I think it's a taken name. I think I've no idea what his nationality is. I have no idea.
Okay.
I think they take these pseudonyms. So when I went for my proper consultation, I made a recording of my experience. So the recording, my phone was in my bag, and listen to the recording, and then I will fill in the picture with the sounds and the smells and the sights.
Okay. Right. Let's go.
Hello, how are
Hello,
you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
You're gonna come near here, sit here. I see here before you had this, the life was better, but now it's changing. You see, I see here your luck is not open, it's closed.
Can you pause, Esther? Because the audience might
Call
not
his
hear.
name.
The sound's not,
Take
obviously
his
not
name.
very good.
Tony,
If you can just pause, then I will explain. That noise that you hear. So Professor Abbasi has
Is that a calabash?
yes, and he shakes those. And now
Right.
remember, the room that I entered was completely dark. Oh, I had to take off my shoes
Mhm.
outside. So then I enter this room that's about 2.5 meters by two. So it's about 2.5 meters. It's a very small room. There's no light coming in. The door is closed behind me. It's completely pitch dark. Then a candle is lit, and I told Professor Abbasi that the help I needed was financial, because that's what most people need. Most people in South
Yes.
Africa need money. And that's why most people go to see people like Professor Abbasi. So the noise that's very prominent is the shaking. And he speaks with a heavy accent. So what he's telling me is that I was born lucky, but I lost my luck. Okay, now
Oh,
if you want to continue. So
where
I
did you
was
lose?
born lucky, but I lost.
Where did you lose it, Tersia? Did he tell you where you lost the luck
Bless
at?
me.
Okay, let's carry on.
So you can continue.
Okay, let's carry on.
Plessis, Andres, Tony, and Jacob Du Plessis.
If you can,
You
sorry,
was
I'm going
born
to stop
lucky
because
and
I
you
need to
got the
explain.
luck from your parents.
You was so I had to repeat my husband's name 3 times
Oh,
because yes, for so and you know that was so eerie for me to and I was taken aback. I didn't prepare a false name. So he said, "So what's your problem?" I said, "We don't have money." And he said, "Oh, so this concerns you and your husband?" And he said, "Repeat your husband's name 3 times, his full name." And to me, what was most striking was that as a skeptic, as an atheist, I was completely unnerved by the idea of saying my husband's name out loud. They fish for information first. Absolutely, Beige. You've got it. You can
ah,
continue, Esther.
right. Okay. Why did you have to say your husband's name 3 times? What do you think that was about?
The Holy Spirit? I don't know. Father, the Son, and the Holy
So if
Ghost?
you so if you didn't have a husband, whose name would you have been calling out?
Probably a mother, a child, a father. I don't know.
Ah, someone, a significant person in your
Someone
life.
dear to you.
Interesting.
Parents.
Look at Ox.
But the luck is not open. But to open your luck, there is some stuff we do. You understand? There is some medicine we do get for you, and also something to use from your luck. We normally open the luck. You need to see that you get the money of your age. You said how old are you?
48.
You need to get 4,000 and 4,800. You put that money in one of your clothes, any clothes.
Yes.
Mostly you use the paint or the top.
Yeah.
You fold that money in that clothes. You put that money on where under the bed where you sleep, where you put the head for 2 days. After 2 days,
Esther, I don't
you
want to
come
bore our
here
audience. I don't think
every.
they can hear.
Okay.
That is
I think they have
the
the
process.
ambience.
How
So I will tell our audience what I was told. But okay. Firstly, I have to say, I was honestly taken aback by how susceptible even I, as a skeptic, was by the atmosphere, the darkness, the candle. Then he lit a piece of, I think it was a piece of steel wool in a little bowl. And if I didn't have the scientific knowledge to know what happens to steel wool when you set it alight, it makes these sparks. It really looks like magic. If you are not a knowledgeable person, if you are if you are the least bit susceptible to superstition, I mean, I sat there and I thought to myself, oh my God, maybe I should just take my bag and run. There was a moment where I was really scared. So I have so much sympathy with people who don't have my education, who don't have my sense of skepticism, who so I want to make that very clear. I'm not making fun of anybody who who falls for this. I am only trying to expose the charlatans because they're really good at what they do. I I would have fallen for it 10 years ago. Hook, line, and sinker. Okay, so he gets you into the atmosphere. It's the shakers, the darkness, the smells are funny. You don't know what's going to happen. And then he told me, and there was a moment when I literally said to myself, okay, this is bullshit. Just play along. To me, so I have to get my luck back. I was born lucky, then I lost it. And to get my luck back, I have to give the amount of money, the number of my years. So at the time, I was 48. But then he doesn't have the language to say 48 times 100, which is 4,800 rand.
Right?
He just says the number of your years, and then he said 4,000 rand, which is a lot of money. And I said to him, okay, listen, I've come to you because I don't have money. Now I have to give you 4,000 rand.
Were you supposed to
And then
give
he
it
said
to
to me, no, but
him?
you must borrow the money. No. I mustn't give it to him. There's a little house. There's a little grass house in the corner of the consultation room. And there's a bowl in this house. So I have to take the money in cash money. I have to wear that money in my underwear for 3 days. Then, no, sorry. I have to wrap it in my underwear in something that has been close to my skin. Then I have to put it under my mattress where my head is for 3 days. But nobody must know that I'm doing this, and nobody must touch this money, because if anybody touches this money besides me, the magic will disappear. Then I must
Oh,
bring this money. I must put it in the bowl in the magic hut. And then the forefathers will decide whether they will take it or not.
ah, the forefathers. Oh, they must be broke.
Why are you not?
These forefathers must be. They must be needing of money. They must be broke or something.
But please note, Professor Abasi will not touch this money. The
Oh,
forefathers will handle it, because if he touches it, then the spell will somehow be broken. But by this time, I was really fed up with this bullshit. And I said to him, okay, so how much money must I give? And he said 4,800 rand. And I said, listen, I've come to you because I don't have money. I don't have 4,800 rand to give you. And he said, no, but who supports, who helps you financially? And I said, okay, my mother. And he said, okay, so what's your mother's name? And I gave my dead great grandmother's name. And he said, okay, so tell your name that you want to borrow this amount, 4,800 rand, which is about 50 pounds. So you want to borrow this money, but don't tell them why you want to borrow this money. And it has to be in cash. And then you sleep with it under your mattress, wrapped in your underwear, preferably. And eventually I said to him, okay, so if I do this, tell me, you said the number of my years. I am 48. Can I bring 48 rand, which is about 2 pounds, about 2 pounds? Can I bring 2 pounds, 48 rand? Because that's the number of my years? He said, no. You can't bring 48 rand or 2 pounds. You have to bring 20 pounds.
48.
40. So the number of my years, 48, is not going to be enough. Maybe 480. So either times 10 or times 100. The forefathers want the number of my years times 100.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh. And then
These
I asked him, I said,
forefathers.
they know stuff. Then I said, okay, will I get this money back? So I've given my 4,800 rand, the number of my years. I've put it in the bowl. Will I get it back? Can you guess what the answer is?
I can guess. If the forefathers have taken the money, no, you're not having your money back.
No, the forefathers will decide. They will decide whether you get it back. They will decide. So you have to come back. You have to come back.
Can I ask this question, Tersia? These forefathers, are they invincible, imaginary, non-existent, or are they present in that hut? Or these forefathers?
They are, and I didn't ask him that, but the forefathers are the conduits of God. That's the way I understood it. So you communicate with God through the forefathers, and that's the very dangerous fusion between Christian belief and traditional African beliefs.
Right.
Because they've been linked in this deadly concoction. I want to tell you something else, Esther. So South Africa is the most unequal society in the world. The gap between rich and poor is the greatest. You can check it on the Gini coefficient. We are an extremely unequal society. And this gentleman arrived for our appointment in a very shiny looking Mercedes Benz. Not an old model, a very new model. They have loads of money. And I can imagine if you see 5 clients a day and you get just 1,000 rand, say 10 pounds per day, times 5, you've got 50 pounds a day. And you see clients every day, and all the money that you get is cash. There's no bookkeeping. You don't pay any tax.
No taxes. Oh.
No taxes. And that makes me sick to my stomach. It's funny. I'm laughing about the number of your years and wrap the money in your underpants.
I think
People
it's
are
time
desperate.
to change. I think it's time for a change of profession. I think I would do really well in this profession. I can imagine myself just sitting there and just telling people, here's your problem. Just get a bit of what you call it, the shaky shaky calabash thing, and shake, 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 and
Do you want me to
then
send you some? I can send you some.
I would love that. Ask what their age is, make sure the ambience of the place is looking like, uh, there's a way it looks, or it make it look dark. And was there any music playing in the background?
No, no music,
No
no
music.
music.
Okay.
No, no, but it was, but when I started to get comfortable and to investigate, the room is set up to look like a traditional hut. So you have a
Right.
pole up the middle, and there are skulls, animal skulls, stacked on this pole. And the fact that there's a lot of ritual, you take off your shoes, you have to sit on a rug in a particular place. My original voice recording is about 20 minutes long. So, but the sound, and Professor Abbasi speaks with a very heavy accent, and my phone was
Mm.
in my bag. So, I think I must do a transcript of our conversation and post that with
Okay.
the audio. That might be a
Okay.
good idea.
We put that. You put it on your channel. So what I'm going to do, make sure we put the link to your channel. Right. It'd be nice to come and listen to this. And James Apperson is asking, how long ago did that happen?
Oh, that was last year, June. That was June
Only
last year.
last year.
Yep,
Oof.
yep, last year, June.
Oh, all right. Let's go and hear
Oh,
the
James,
rest of
you might enjoy
this.
this. So James, being a man, I don't know if you're married, but it was so funny. So the consultation room is walking distance from my house. So it was on a Saturday afternoon, and I told my son and my husband that I'm going to see Professor Abbasi now, and I'm only taking my handbag and my phone, and my phone is in my bag. And I put the sat nav on my phone, and I said, if I'm not back in 30 minutes, then you follow my phone and you find out where I am, because I didn't know what to expect. And what was so funny, at one stage, Professor Abbasi asked me about my husband. Now, my husband, he is the dearest man ever. My daughter,
Oh,
just to give you an idea, when my daughter was about 16, there was a boy much in love with her. But my husband's 6'6". He's a tall South African rugby player type guy.
oh,
And this boyfriend of my daughter's was very much afraid of her father. And he was, because he's so big. And she said to her friend, she said, listen, if you're afraid of my dad, you're afraid of the wrong person. You don't have to be afraid of my dad. You have to be afraid of my mom. She's the dangerous one.
oh.
So, so that's my husband. So Professor Abbasi asked me about my relationship with my husband. And I thought, I'm going to play along, because by now I wasn't afraid anymore. I felt in control of myself. And I
Right.
said, no, we have all right. You're all right. And he said, so there's never been any other woman in your husband's life? And I said, oh, there was this woman once.
Oh, here
And
we
he said,
go.
was she blonde? I said, yes, she was blonde. And he said, yes,
Mm.
I can see her, because I had to hold my hands above the bowl and there was something smoking in it. So he said, um, so I came back and I told my husband, I said, listen, who's this blonde woman you've been seeing? And he said, well, I wish you'd tell me. What have I been missing out on?
A blonde. But no, no, but seriously, Tersia, you really should investigate. You really should find out. Your husband might just be doing, might just be sneaky, might just be sneaking and seeing this blonde woman behind your back. You just never know,
Maybe.
right?
Esther,
Dr.
Esther,
Abasi might just be right.
my husband is a mechanical engineer. Do you know the joke about the doctor, the lawyer, and the mechanical engineer who sit in a bar? And the doctor asks them, have either of you ever had an affair? And the lawyer says, hell no. I would never have an affair because my wife would take all my money in the settlement. And the engineer says, well, I have an affair. I tell my wife I'm going to work. I tell my wife I'm seeing my my lover, and I tell my lover I'm with my wife so that I can go to work.
And what does the engineer say?
Well, that's the engineer. The engineer tells his wife that he's with his lover. He tells his lover that he's with his wife so that he can go to work. Because that's what engineers do. They work 24/7.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
But
okay.
Esther, on a more serious note, can
Hmm.
you imagine a woman
Oh
who
God.
does have real financial trouble, who
Hmm.
doesn't have the type of trusting relationship I have with my husband?
Mm.
One seed of doubt. He
Yes.
sows one seed of doubt,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
begin to look at that person through different eyes. It's
Hmm.
very, very dangerous. It
Can I
it's dangerous to relationships. It's dangerous. It's robbing people. It's stealing from them.
just share this very quickly? Just yesterday, I found out about a friend, well, acquaintance, who has been sectioned under the mental health. She's now under the care of the mental health people here in the city where I live. She's very paranoid about her husband cheating on her because she's a big lady, big girl, right? Husband's very skinny, very
Mhm.
young. He looks very young and very, he looks really fit, and he drives a taxi. So with taxis, a taxi driver will meet all sorts of people as part of his job, and she's at home with four kids looking after them. So very paranoid. I, I can imagine how she feels. He can't even as much as look. He can't even as much as, just say hello to a female. And now that paranoia has she's now been sectioned because of that paranoia. So when you talk about planting a seed of doubt, can you imagine someone like that lady go and visit Dr. Abasi?
Abasi, exactly. So to
Sorry, is he a
me,
doctor
it's
or what is it? Did he say he's a doctor?
professor. He calls
Professor,
himself
sorry.
Professor Abasi.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something else that makes it very complicated and more dangerous. For me as a white Afrikaans speaking woman, to
Mm-hmm.
criticize something like Professor Abasi, it's so easy to be called racist, to be called
Oh
um,
yes.
uh, to, because I'm
Mm,
criticizing a traditional belief, and
mm,
so that comes into it, and it might very easily seem as if I'm making fun of people for what they believe, and yes, I laugh, and we do laugh because I have to confess it really is it is so ridiculous. But while I'm saying that, I want to tell our audience that what angers me is that the likes of Professor Abbasi have less respect for their so-called clients than I have for the people who might see me as racist, because
mm,
I'm not coming from a view of superiority. As I confessed, as a skeptic, as an atheist, there was a moment where I was really uh, the ambience, the atmosphere is so powerful. These people know what they're doing.
mm,
It's so dangerous. And when you go to see somebody like Professor Abbasi, you are a desperate person. You're desperate.
yes.
really don't have money. Most people, when they get that leaflet on their windscreen, when they climb into the taxi and they get that leaflet on the seat, they really don't have money to pay their school fees. They really might not know where their next meal will be coming from. They really might be without a job. They are really desperate. I went there with the view to see what was happening because I was curious and because I wanted to uncover the scam because I suspected it was a scam. But the 99.9% of the other so-called clients are really desperate people. And they really believe because when I was there the first time, when I made my appointment to come back in 4 days' time, there was a lady waiting in the waiting room. And it was clear that she was a regular client because you get hooked because you're always waiting to hear what the forefathers will say, because maybe next time the news will be good. It's a little bit like gambling. You keep on playing, you
Until
hoping
you
that
hit the
next time
jackpot.
I'll win. Yep. Are you crocheting or knitting, Esther?
Crocheting. Okay. Should we hear the
You're a
rest
woman
of
of my heart.
really? Oh, that's nice. Yeah,
I'm
let's
a
hear the
hooker
rest
too.
of I don't know how to knit, so crocheting, yes.
I know
Let's
how to knit, but let's listen.
okay, let's hear the rest of this. It's not a lot more
No,
left.
it's not long.
Okay. Is it playing?
Doesn't seem so. It's frozen.
Hang on. Is it? Hmm. I don't know what's happened to it. Okay, just
So,
give me 1 second.
Maybe I can say, I did go onto David Smalley. I'm not sure if your audience is familiar with David Smalley. Smalley, David Smalley. He has a podcast in the States. And there's very good sound on his podcast of this interview. It's not my best interview because my website wasn't up and running. So is something
Yeah, we've got
happening?
the video now. We've got the video. Sorry, the audio. Okay, should work now.
Yep.
You need to get 4,000 and 4,800. You put that money in one of your clothes, any clothes. Mostly you use the pant or the top.
Yeah.
You fold that money in that clothes. You put that money on where under the bed where you sleep, where you put the head for 2 days. After 2 days, you come here with it.
Okay.
That is the process how we do these things.
So I forget you say how much? 4,000?
Your age. If
Oh, 4,800.
800.
Oh,
If you are
okay.
47,
Okay, it's 4,000.
this is a traditional beer.
Oh, it's like it's stuck at that spot. What's happening? No.
Okay. I muted myself. There was a drink that he was going to prepare for me. I was supposed to go back a second time, which I didn't do. I wasn't going to drink anything.
So how many times did you go altogether?
So I went the first time. There was about 5 minutes, and it cost me 100 rand. And then the second time I went back to see the actual real Professor Abbasi was about 20 minutes. And I was supposed to go back 3 days later. And he did contact me. And then I just didn't answer. So I was supposed to go back again with the money because I didn't take I just paid the 100 rand. So, yes, I didn't go back, obviously.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Oh well. So Dr. Professor Abasi, he got some of your money. And what did you get in return?
Knowledge. I got knowledge.
Awesome knowledge.
I would have
Awesome
never
knowledge.
known. And
Hmm.
and you know, if this video can go out and one person can see it, and
Right.
one fewer person can
Hmm.
fall victim to the likes of Professor Abasi, then my 100 rand would have been well spent.
Hmm. You know something? And this brings me over to the subject of spirituality, right? So some people you find that they've been religious all their life and decide, okay, I no longer want to be religious, but I want to be spiritual. I've never met two spiritual people that speak the same language. I've never met two people that believe in this spiritual thing and they each believe exactly the same. Every spiritual person believes something completely different. And you will hear things like, oh, it's just go with your feelings, right? You would know when it is from the gods, or you would, there's these things that they
Universe.
they
You
they
have to
say.
be in touch with the universe, Esther. You have to be in touch with your inner self,
Energy, the
with
energy.
your inner being. Yes, yes, and the positive energy. So you can see, I'm spiritual too. You see? Oh, come on, Esther. What does spiritual mean?
I thought I I don't know. I wish I knew, but I do
Okay,
not know. Go
okay. Can I give you my opinion? I'm very
on.
opinionated, as you know.
Okay.
I'm quite a fan of Matt Delahanty and also the Derek of Myth Vision podcast. And I would describe myself as a materialist in the sense that I'm convinced that we live in a material world that is very strange and very random, but also governed by certain laws. So to me, spirituality or to be spiritual is the bucket that people create when they are no longer religious, but they don't want to say that they're an atheist. They want to hang on to
Mm,
something of the feeling. And to me, to say that one is spiritual means that you want to say that you're a person who experiences things deeply. It's a meaningless word. It has no meaning because it can mean anything. And any word that can mean anything to anybody has
mm,
become meaningless.
nothing. Mm,
So that's my opinion. I think that to call oneself spiritual is to be deliberately obfuscating, and it's also to hide the fact you don't want to hide the fact that you are an atheist. That's my opinion, and I will be criticized for it. Uh, it's also an attempt, I think, to give a name to name that feeling we get when we are deeply happy, or when we see a beautiful sunset, or when we are a little bit tipsy, perhaps. I don't know.
mhm. Under
Then
the
we
influence of
say
something.
we are something, be it something that you've put inside your body from the outside, or whether it's just that feeling that you have when your child is a baby and he's sleeping peacefully, and that feeling of just love that that you're experiencing because of what's happening in your brain, but you have to express it in some way. and then we call that spiritual. And I
So
think
can
it's
I?
misleading. I think it's dangerous.
I'm going to. I have a completely different view from yourself. I feel like people who are spiritual, they're not. A lot of them still believe in maybe not so much God, but that there is a creator. There's a an unmovable mover, an uncaused cause, a something that started everything, right? And so, because they haven't got a name for it, they haven't got they can't pinpoint what or who this person is. You'd rather just put it under this big umbrella term and call it spiritual. So you find a lot of them still subscribe to a deity, a just something, right? They're in between. They're in between being an unbeliever and being a believer. They're just somewhere. A lot of them are not sure, and they're just not confident to hand on heart say no. A there isn't a being that caused all of this. So for them, it's just trying to fill the gaps, right, with this spirituality thing. That's what I think. It's
You know,
just spirituality is just filling gaps.
you're right. And that's what makes spirituality such a useless word, because I can agree with what you just said 100%. And obviously, I have my view, and I think those views are equally valid. And I can see exactly where I agree with you. I can see
Hmm.
exactly where those people are coming from. And I like what Maya Atkinson is saying. The word deist came to me as well. Maya Atkinson, I was thinking exactly the same thing. They don't know the word deist, and some people think of that as spiritual. It's this idea that somebody out there is somebody or something out there is looking out for me. Um, but yep,
Hey, Maya.
atheist, the spiritual. Maya, I agree with Esther too.
And James
I
happens.
agree with Esther.
James Apperson says, I've known some people who identify as atheists but spiritual. Hmm?
Yes, I get that, and that's why I say that some people
Hmm.
I know, they if they say spiritual, they mean that you're a deep person. So
Right.
you ex
Yes, yes.
and so and that's exactly my point about the word spiritual. Everything that you said, Esther, I
Hmm.
agree with you 100%. But I also know people who say that they're atheist but spiritual. It's an
Hmm.
empty word. It's a
Never met anyone
placeholder.
like
It's
that
a
before.
bucket. It's I. It's because language is problematic. Language is very powerful, but there are many things, many feelings, many ideas, many thoughts that we can't express in language. How often have you felt, how often have you said to somebody, I don't have the words to explain this?
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's when we use the word
There
Marrakesh,
is.
that shape thing. Yep.
It's called the Marrakesh. That shake shake thing.
That
Hey,
shake,
Fecky
shake thing.
now.
Oh,
Gullible. Spiritual equals gullible. Anti-goddist. Okay. He's anti-goddist. Sam Harris wrote a book promoting non-theist spirituality. But I agree with Tessia. The word spiritual is as empty as the word God. I completely agree with that. Okay. But then
it's
this
a
is the thing.
placeholder.
It is, and a lot of people fall prey. I've had somebody come in my sent me an email saying, "Thank you very much for what you do. But can you do me a favor? Is it possible to do a stream on spirituality?" Said, because even though I left religion, I found myself in a spiritual cult. Right? They leave religion, but and not then they can't just accept the fact that there is just nothing, that there is no God, that's, oh, there's no being, no deity. And so he ended up going to this spiritual place, and he unfortunately was abused there. Not just abused, but abused in every sense of the word, right? Every sense. Just if you all know what I'm saying, but abused, and he's really, really young. So it completely broke me, because here we have somebody who is not religious, but still has. But now, right now, they don't subscribe to that anymore. Thankfully, but it's just these people need something. They need this comfort. This is like a comfort blanket to know that there's something out there that must, we must. I don't know. I don't know. And so a lot of people have been abused financially, sexually, emotionally, in all forms of abuse have gone on, because people have found themselves in places where these woo woo people, right, are telling you, oh, your chakra, one chakra here, one chakra there, chakra. I'm like, what is this chakra of it? Chakra.
You see, Esther, that is why I'm very careful to just um, condemn anybody or any idea. But you said the word woo woo, and I think the danger is that spiritual becomes the academic or the intellectual version of woo woo, and that it can cause people to fall prey to things that are not true. And to me, it's important to believe as many true things as possible. And I know we can have long discussions about what is true. And what we know now to be true might change in 24 hours if we get new information. So I'm not a relativist in that respect, but I see myself as an empiricist in that sense. If you say that you are spiritual and you can define what you mean by that, then we can discuss the meaning of that. But then we need to have an individual conversation with the person in front of me who says that he's spiritual. But the idea of spirituality to me is way too similar to concepts like woo woo. So the chakras must be aligned and you have an
Energy.
aura
Yeah.
and
Oh, the aura. Oh,
yes, do you see my
oh.
aura? What does my aura look like today? And
Beautiful.
and
Your aura looks beautiful,
thank
Tersia.
you,
Always looks beautiful.
as does yours. And your positive energy radiates through the screen. And that is dangerous. We need to accept that we as human beings are extremely complex and complicated, and that we
Hmm.
live in a complex world, and that there are many things that most of us will never understand. But we need to strive to find solutions to the real problems that we face.
Hmm.
And we don't need spirituality for that. We don't need it. need spirituality. We
not.
don't need an aura. We don't need chakras.
Yeah.
We need healthy habits. We need community. And we need to learn how to think and express ourselves. And we
Yes.
need to learn compassion. And that's all we need.
Exactly. We don't
We
need
don't
all
need
these.
this other thing.
No, we don't. We don't.
We
Okay,
don't.
so let's watch a quick. Well, not so quick, but watch this video. I don't know if you have heard about this person. Let's have a look. Where is it now? That's it. Okay, here we go.
Timothy Omotoso, a 58-year-old Nigerian pastor, is believed to have moved to South Africa in 2001. Omotoso and the Jesus Dominion International Church came under scrutiny after a news feature on the SABC Current Affairs program Special Assignment contained claims of sexual abuse from several women at the hands of Omotoso under the pretext of healing. Some of his alleged victims as young as 14 years old. The pastor also allegedly evaded arrest by the Hawk several times. He tried to avoid his arrest at the Port Elizabeth Airport by first lying about his arrival time and then hiding in a toilet when he was found by the Hawks and armed members of the South African Police Services Tactical Response Team as they waited for him. His dramatic arrest was met with shock by the community and anger by his congregation. His bail proceeding delivered shocking revelations. The court heard detailed affidavits of victims and that the pastor was in possession of fraudulent travel documents. The court also heard that an illegal work permit was obtained for the pastor by a member of his church who was working at the Department of Home Affairs, and that a senior official within the Hawks were in cahoots with the prophet to get him out of the country.
The allegations made about Hawks members or senior officials being involved or being part of the church or having disturbed our operations, yes, we are busy investigating those because we cannot have members inside the Hawks working against us, irrespective of the rank, whether you are a senior or a junior. As long as you stand in front of the law, you need to be investigated. And if when we investigate, there is strong evidence that leads to arrest, that will be done, yes.
But the flamboyant pastor enjoys huge support. The allegations against him was not deterred by those who believe in his innocence. His supporters are always in support at his court appearances. They are calling on God to assist the man they call Daddy. He is hailed as a righteous leader by his congregants and a God-fearing man.
It's painful what's happening, but God will answer for Omotoso. People will think they are bewitched when Omotoso's God answers. They will then see God's power.
We're supporting, we are behind him 100%. We are not changing. He has taught us everything we know.
These girls are lying. They were never raped because I also have children who are girls and they are their friends. They never showed any remorse and they don't show any signs that they were harmed. If something happened, they should have told us as their mothers of the church, not even one child who claimed they were.
So, Tersia, did you ever hear about Tim Omotosho?
Yes, I'm very familiar with that case. And worse than that, I know that for every case like the Amatosho one that is very public, in my local community, in my local newspaper, in my town, I can give you at least 3 stories of pastors who abused girls. Just so for every one that is publicized like that, there's probably 10 cases that are never publicized, that don't go public because the pastor is just a local pastor in a small town like mine. And that's why it's dangerous. And you see, just to get back to the whole thing about being spiritual, I don't care how spiritual you are. If one person in a position of power, if any person abuses another person, that is unacceptable. Doesn't matter whether it's male, female, male, male, female, female. And here you have people who have power, that they are given power because they are seen as these spiritual leaders. And they use that power to abuse people who are powerless. And they are defended by the very people who they abuse. And that's because people have nothing else to hold on to. And we need to give people something to hold on to. And that something is knowledge and being in touch with the real world and solving real problems of real people. And I don't know what more I can say to. I wish I had the power of an Elon Musk. Then I would, the world would be very different.
Oh,
Esther, you mute.
no, sorry about that. So Timo Motosho, he is a Nigerian pastor, right? Choir boy, right? Grew up in church in the choir, and somehow miraculously he's become a pastor. He's left Nigeria and found his way to South Africa and now started off a church, right? When this case became public, this guy has abused young girls in his church, right? But yet the people who are his followers, they're the ones they're out here supporting him, even though there's allegations that he has abused many young girls in his establishment, right? It's that it was the cognitive dissonance I could not understand. So I thought, you know what? I'll go and check out what exactly does he teach these people. What exactly is he? Could it be something he's saying to the South African young ladies, the women? There's nothing. There really is. I couldn't understand it because he was just talking trash. He made no sense. So I couldn't understand how are these men revered so much that they can be, they can, people can look at them and think that there's something there when there really is nothing. It was just a sickening thought. Now he's been in jail for the last God knows how long. And the same people are still desperately trying to get him out, that he's been done wrong. The girls lied. I feel
The
that
girls
the
lie.
South African people need to put be firm with these people that come from God knows all the other countries.
It's not about where they come from, Esther. Like I said, I can give you many examples in my own community. In fact, I used to live in another town, and there was it was locally, it was quite well publicized. A pastor, a South African white Afrikaans speaking pastor who abused girls in his church. And one of the girls spoke out. Her own mother didn't want to support her because
Mhm.
it would cause rift in the church, because especially Christianity and Islam are in essence the core values that are hidden in Christianity and in Islam is that of abuse. You see, God is the ultimate abusive partner. I
Mm.
It's your fault that I abuse you. And that's what's happening here. It's not where the pastors come from is not the issue. And South
Mhm.
Africans will not stand up against pastors from other countries. I think so. There's two things here. I think pastors from Nigeria and Malawi come to South Africa because it's a tax haven and because they get support by the politicians, the powerful politicians. That's why they come here. But as far as the people are concerned, they have the ethics. No, it's unethical. Religion is based on abuse. The Christian religion, in particular, is based on an abusive relationship. God loves you only as long as you do exactly what He wants to. If you don't do exactly what He wants to, then you go to the fiery pit. It's the ultimate abusive relationship. And if you've grown up in that abusive relationship, if that's all you've ever known, that's all you've ever known. That's the only place you've ever had community. It's the only place that's ever supported you, because abusive partners have this habit of, once they've beaten you to a pulp, when you come out of hospital, they buy you gifts to say how sorry they are that they beat you. So it's a deeply rooted psychological issue with the people of Africa, and in particular with the people of South Africa. You know, it's a little bit like gay people. I'm not sure, you won't be aware of it because it's mostly in the Afrikaans press. So the largest Afrikaans speaking denomination is the NG, so N for nanny, G, so that's for Nether Dutch, that's what it's, Netherlands Dutch Church. And they've been embroiled in a court case about whether or not to allow gay marriage, or even to allow gay pastors in that church. And you will not believe, no, you will believe me, many gay people still want to be members of that church, and they want to convince this church to accept them.
Gosh.
And I'm like, why do you want to convince the church to accept you? Just leave the church, but they can't.
Is that hook? Is that hook? Is that hook that,
sorry?
You know, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
It's that
I
hook.
can hear you. Yeah, that
You
hook.
know,
Yep.
Is that when you have gone all your life being taught that there is a God somewhere. A lot of adults have never done any investigation into trying to figure out, is there indeed this being called God, right? They leave it to the others to do the homework for them. They leave it to the pastors, leave it to the preachers, leave it to the disciples. The disciples must have known what they were talking about, right? We believe their words. It's someone else's job to do it. As for me, all I have to do is just believe, right? And now you come along with a completely different set of beliefs, challenging what they've known all their life. That can't be easy to come away from. That can't be easy. And so that's why anyone who leaves religion, anyone who manages to get out, I commend those people. It's some even in the face of death, right? If it's Islam, some in the face of being shunned by your family, and they still would make that move, would still, make that jump and say, no, enough, I'm done with this. And so is that hook. It's very, very hard to break that.
It's very hard. And Esther, I have so much sympathy with these people who are abused and who still support their abuser. And there's a very interesting parallel in a country like South Africa. So the African National Party is the party that gave people of color in South Africa their freedom. There's no other way to put it. But in the past 20 years, the African National Party have they've not given what they promised to give. We live in a country that is still massively unequal, and the people who are still suffering the most are mostly black and mostly poor, right? So, but those very same people, when the elections come, who do they vote for? They still vote for the ANC. They still vote for the African National Party because they see the party as the savior. Humans, we have a savior mentality. We have a savior complex. Oh, oh, Steve, you're so sweet. I just love Steve. I wish you, yeah, I'm going to visit Steve in Sweden one of these days.
Oh,
One of these days.
take me with you.
Oh, can you imagine you and I going to
Yes,
Sweden together to visit Steve?
to go and
Oh my
see
goodness,
Steve, Swedish Steve.
Swedish Steve. So it's exactly the same thing. You know, most poor black people live in utter squalor. They have raw sewage running in the streets. They live in shacks. Their children don't have Stockholm's. Thank you very much. That's exactly. But they keep on voting for the same political party. It's the same thing. It's a mental thing. It's a psychological thing, and it's extremely difficult to break because we are social beings, and the more you suffer, the more important your social structure becomes. So for me, as a well-educated, independent, white woman, it's very easy for me to live in my family circle without. I have my husband, he loves me, I have friends, one or two that I need, and my personality is such, I'm fine. I keep myself busy. I have people like you and Swedish Steve and people on the internet that I connect with. That's my community. I don't feel the loss of not having neighbors that I have good relationships with very intensely. But if you live in a shack where the people who live within 10 meters square radius of you, and I'm not exaggerating, I've been in shacks. Do you have any idea what a shack looks like, Esther? Does your
Yes, I've
audience have
seen
an
some.
idea?
Should
Okay,
should
so
we show
so
them?
it's
Should we
literally
show them? Hang on, let me see if I
um
can get a picture of the shack in South Africa.
Kailicha?
Right. Just 1 second.
Listen, I
Oh
have a better
goodness, look
idea.
at
I have
this.
a better idea.
Okay,
One,
what's
can I show the people? Can I
you can
show your
share it?
audience?
Yes,
This
you
is
can share.
this is okay. So I'm moving. My house is becoming a school. The front part. So this
Right.
room is 4 meters by 3 meters wide. Okay. So a shack is that corner. That corner of this room. It's about 1/4 of the room that I'm sitting in. That would be the size of a shack. Okay. And they are spaced about 1 meter apart. So between you and your neighbors, there's about 1 meter of space. The shack is built of corrugated iron. Anybody can break into it. Sometimes up to 4 people live in a space of 2 by 2 square meters. That's what it looks like. You are utterly dependent on the people that surround you. You are utterly dependent on your community. And that fosters this hanging on to the system that abuses you. And we need to understand that these people are not stupid. They are not even ignorant. They are victims. And we need to understand that, and we need to convey that message. And the main thing that I want to do is teach people that live in those circumstances that you are showing on your screen right now, that it's okay to question these powers that be. We have to question them. And that's the root of atheism and humanism to me, living in the country that I live in. Because Christianity, and in South Africa, it's mostly Christianity, because as I said before, Islam, I think there are more atheists than Muslims in South Africa. I might be corrected on that, and please, if you can Google the facts, correct me. But Christianity, I think 85% of people in South Africa identify as Christian. Atheists are about 8%. I'm thumb sucking, but that was in the last census that I checked. So Christianity is the main force. And Christianity has hijacked community in this country. And that's why people hang on to it.
Absolutely. I mean, well said. What you just said. I'm trying to find, there's a video I'm trying to find, but can't seem to find it now. But in the meantime, I'm going to show something quickly, and then we'll start bringing this to a close. Just give me 1 second. Just 1 second. Where is it now? Right, okay, I found this one. Okay, let me share my screen.
So-called prophet, please, I beg you. Don't try it in the church. This one is exceptional. This one is extraordinary. I beg you, do not try.
So these are just videos from Africa showing showing Christianity as a whole. This isn't about Islam so much. I really don't cover Islam here, but just to show you where Christianity is at over in Africa. You might have seen some of these videos, but yeah.
Dean and I on Dean and I did a debunk.
Don't try it, please, Pastor. This one is fire. This one is not just a pastor. Please, Pastor, don't try it in your own church. So-called prophet, please, I beg you. Don't try it in your church. This one is exceptional.
I think it's going a bit too fast. That's a pastor trying to heal this person who's come with her crutches. So instead of praying, we've got to do this.
This one is extraordinary.
We've had the
Sorry, you were saying?
We've also had I was saying we've had the pastor who sprayed insecticide doom into his congregants' faces, and we had the petrol. He gave them petrol to drink, and then there's a lot of sexual undertones where you have pastors who have congregants do fellatio on them during church services.
No way. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I haven't seen those. I think it's being I think YouTube will censor it, but it happened.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah. So the main message that I would like to give is that as a white Afrikaans speaking atheist in South Africa, I'm in the minority. And I know what it feels like to be in the minority to a certain extent. But my mission is to teach critical thinking.
Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. Without coming from a position of superiority, because I understand what it's like. I understand what it's like to be immersed. I have felt how close I came to being taken in by the atmosphere created by the likes of Professor Abbasi. And I want to spread empathy for people who fall prey to abusive imposters who facilitate their abuse by using the force that Christianity is, and because people are suffering. And if you look at statistics, you will see that in countries where people are very poor and are suffering, religion is a much more powerful force. And people in South Africa are mostly very poor and they have very hard lives. And we need to have empathy for that. And we need to find a way to teach them real freedom. And somewhere in your intro, you have that quote of Hitchens where he says, real truth, beauty, and wisdom will come to you if you I can't remember the whole quote, but it's real truth, wisdom, and beauty. It's in your introduction.
Yes, it is.
And real freedom. Africans want to be free of the colonizer, but they miss that the ultimate colonizer is religion. It's not the white man. It's not the Brits. It's religion.
It is. I can completely agree with that. Can we just watch a bit more of this video and then we'll start to bring this to a close?
Yes.
So these are prayer sessions, right? The previous lady, this one here, she's supposed to be fighting the devil, right? Both women, they're supposed to be, you're supposed to attack your attacker, right?
It's a good workout.
Yeah, well, that's a positive thing about it, right? So when you do this is in the spirit realm. Something's happening to the devil in the spirit realm. Okay. Gosh. Okay, this isn't in Africa, but
இந்த பகுதியிலே ஒரு இச்சையை வைத்து வேசித்தனத்தையும் விபச்சாரத்தையும் செய்ய வைக்க திட்டமிட்ட ஆவியே, இந்த அசுத்த ஆவியை பிடியெடுக்கிறேன்.
That's Robert Mugabe.
Huh?
I'm sure that's Robert Mugabe. That
Who,
looks like
him?
Robert Mugabe.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No.
Probably not. No, it looks a lot like him.
Government
No,
ekwime sente
probably
dasirimu
not.
kuba iganda basirimu nga muli mu kanisa ebakutte obutaba benzi tukisoboka no kanisa nelimuba mbeera.
Even children.
It's abuse. I mean, that was plain abuse.
So what's happening here? This is church, and the man, the leader, the pastor, has decided that he has to correct the wrongdoings of the church members. And maybe one or two people have erred here, but because the others didn't do anything about it, so everyone gets to be flogged. Everyone gets to have a bit of the whip. You see the youngster. The youngster went as well. He wasn't asked, he wasn't told to come on. He just went of his own accord, the youngster. And then everyone starts laughing, right? Because the man pretends like he wants to, but at that young age, he feels the need to go and take part of this beating.
Abuse.
That's a youngster. Did I just see? Hang on. Wait, hang on. It's been a long time I've seen this video. That's a youngster. Oh wow.
Out of their free will. They're not forced.
No.
Because if they don't, they will be ostracized. They will be because we are social beings, and to these people, society is life. So the risk of not lying down for the punishment is greater than the pain of taking a beating.
Tersia. Okay. Ay.
Well, I think I must do another undercover. I think I must go and visit some
undercover to
churches
these places.
in my.
Your local.
I think I must do that. You know, there's actually two of them just within walking distance from my house, where they have these hour-long sermons, and these types of things happen. Maybe I must just get up on a Sunday morning and go there and pretend to be one of the flock.
Make sure to record.
I'll take my phone. I'll ask them to make a recording. Maybe that's something I can do, Esther, as a little project, eh?
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Let's have a look.
I'm ready to demonstrate the power of God.
Not only give them the word, you want to demonstrate the power.
I will give them the word and demonstrate the power.
You give them the word?
And demonstrate the power, me and my brother.
You and the what?
My brother.
Your brother. Not only the word you want to give them, you're going to demonstrate it with your brother. And you, what do you want to give them? It's also...
Don't get me started on the indoctrination of children.
All right. We're not. That's a conversation for another day. I think we will have to bring you back to go.
Hanging out with you guys.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said it was so much fun hanging out with you.
Oh, no, nice. You know, I always enjoy talking to you.
Look, put my baby to I put my baby
Tessia,
to sleep.
Tessia, receive,
Yes.
receive it. Just receive. I don't know what you're supposed to receive, but just receive. Who's that?
I'm
Wait,
receiving it.
who have you got there? Oh, Kitty's gone to sleep. What's Kitty's name?
It's going to, he's Bob. He's Bob Marley,
Oh,
actually.
oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and
He's-
do you know many people in South Africa are so superstitious that when they see a black cat, they
don't get me
literally run
started.
away.
Don't get me
So
started about cats or Africans and cats.
I
Oh, please no.
I
They don't
bought
kill them over there,
I
do they? There's
no,
some
no, but
parts
they
where
do
they
kill
kill.
owls. Hey, they do kill owls and they do kill chameleons
Oh, oh, just, yeah.
and frogs. They kill frogs as well. It's a That's another
Why?
topic that and
Why?
and often one of the major causes in the Western Cape of devastating bushfires is when the likes of Professor Abasi, they felt to collect plants, and they have rituals, and they set not on purpose, but they set fire to the veld, and they do a lot of environmental damage. They kill baboons. Um,
Mm,
they and this is for medicinal purposes.
mm-hmm.
This is
Medicines.
not to export to the Chinese market. This is not for medicine. This is expressly because they believe that there's magic powers in these sometimes very rare plant species.
Okay, ready? Should we carry on? We're nearly done
We
now
can
with this
go.
one.
You know me? You don't know me? In the realm of the spirit, I ask you, you don't know me? I am sin.
Esther,
Oh, Carol, see you later.
Chini, chini, harakisha, enda chini, chini, down, 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 down. Ready up. Except the lady and go to the altar. You have money. Stand up, all of you. Don't waste my time. I don't want this man. I want money. God say, all of you here, you will be in trouble if you disobey. You will be in trouble. You'll die very quick. Go to the altar. God wants his man.
God says he wants money. If you do not obey,
of
you will
course.
die very quick. Did you hear that? Let me take that back.
I didn't
God
hear that.
says,
No,
all right.
that's
Yeah, listen to
that's
it now. You will die very quick if you don't give God money.
Ready up. You here, except the lady and go to the altar. You have money. Stand up, all of you. Don't waste my time. I don't want this man. I want money. God say, all of you here, you will be in trouble if you disobey. You will be in trouble. You'll die very quick. Go to the altar. God wants his man.
You'll be in trouble if you disobey. You will die very quick.
Lift your hands.
Yep.
And
Abuse.
say, I will not divorce money. Don't waste time. Which card are you using? Which card are you using?
What card are you
Tell your
using?
mother she must give that money from Absa and she will live long.
Ooh. Take your mother with you. She must give money. And when she gives, she's going to live long.
Mama, are you the one who made you speak? Right? God say you will live
The
long.
number of your years.
Young man, you will live long.
Oh, yes.
Old man, you will live long. Kneel down there. I see visions. Guys, when kneel down there, God say you have money. God's money. And guys, kneel down there. Don't forget me. I don't want you.
I want money.
Lift your hands. Come over. Are you not come over? Go and deal that. No, take cut. Take that money first before you leave. What kind of kneeling when you're disobedient? Say which to push his.
Leave it come out. Leave the urine come out because that is demon.
This is the demonic urine. So leave it, just spread your legs open and just let the urine come out because it's the demon. The urine, the demon is in the urine. I don't know whether this is okay. To be fair, I don't know whether this is squirting or this is urine. Okay, but he says it's urine, whatever. But it's a demon anyway.
Remember, God said that she should let the urine come out because that is the very demon that is coming out of her. Remember, right now, our sister is being parted with the demon. This is the working of the Holy Spirit, brethren. It is true. When I open the fridge, I am saying there is a food there. It's an odd food. It's all food.
Okay, this particular video, this one made me laugh because this man is giving prophecy. This is one of the greatest scammers in Africa, Bushiri. He has made tons and tons, and he's one of the ones who went from Malawi to South Africa, and he's taking advantage of the South African people.
Yep. And then played with the help of the government.
With the help of the government? I thought the government are doing they're investigating right now. How is he gotten the help of? You know what?
Yep, I'll tell you.
Oh God! Should we carry on? And then the video is nearly over. Then we can just wrap it up. Oh.
Of the Holy Spirit, brethren. It is true. When I open the fridge, I am saying there is a food there. It's an odd food. It's all food. It's all the food. All food, Papa. It is in the plates. Yes. And I'm seeing green pepper. Used green pepper.
Tersia, some people go to church to go and be told that in their fridge there's used green pepper. Can you imagine getting dressed wearing your Sunday best, but for a pastor to come and tell you what's in your fridge? Used green pepper. Yeah? This is what some people...
Yeah, and that's prophecy.
This is prophecy. Used green pepper. And she's so excited. Pastor. Goodness gracious me.
Answer. Is it used or not used? It's used. Yeah. And I'm saying
used.
Four tomato. There's 4 tomato.
There's 4 tomato in your fridge.
And I'm seeing a bottle. Can I prophesy? Prophesy! Yeah! It is true.
Okay, these are police officers on the job. The song that they're singing is they're singing to God. This God that is in control of the entire world. The world is subject to him, right? We need to worship him at every point in time. They are on the job, but they're worshiping God on the job. And I commented on this particular video, and God, a lot of them said to me, no, this is okay, this is fine. They can praise God.
Can I tell you what happened? can I tell you that in South Africa, in February of this year or March, the South African National Police Service held a 3-day conference against crime. And the only purpose of this conference, they invited spiritual leaders to attend the conference with the police officers, and the purpose was to pray against crime in South Africa. It was held in the Sandton Convention Center. I don't know how much money it cost, and it was hosted and run by the South African National Police Force with taxpayer money. I kid you not.
Crazy. Right, let's finish this video.
Hi, Ian Davenport.
Hey, Ian. Let me slow this one down because you need to get the full. You need to enjoy it in its full glory. This is a pastor trying to show his members he's got some kind of super magical powers. I don't know what this is all about. Tersia, after watching all of that, I need you to comment on the state of Christianity in particular in Africa. What can we do? What can we, as people, what can we do?
I think the first thing I need to do is get my camera and pay a visit to some churches in my immediate surroundings, which I think will be an interesting view to your viewers, and maybe do some interviews. And I would like to interview the congregants who all seem to be enjoying whatever is happening very much. So maybe that's something I can do, because I don't know if you'll have that opportunity where you are based in the UK. I think I can give quite a unique insight. I'll take my little kitten Bob with me. Oh, yes. So I'll take my black cat with me as protection. Maybe I'll be safe then. And then education, Esther. We need to educate the young, and we need to do it using the Socratic method in a non-threatening way, not coming from superiority. And I have to tell you that for me, as a white Afrikaans-speaking woman, it's very difficult, because how do I not come across as condescending? So I need a lot of practice to model humility and to model understanding, coming from a position of privilege, coming from a position of being a benefactor of a very unjust system. But we need to talk about these things. We need to keep talking, and we need to show our humanity. And I hope you'll forgive me. And I'm a very straightforward person, but I think that for a white South African Afrikaans-speaking woman and a black Nigerian woman to be together on the internet and speak out of one mouth is extremely powerful. And I feel so honored and so privileged. And as women,
Can I interrupt? Can I interrupt you for a quick second, if you don't mind?
I don't mind.
Being an atheist has made me see things I would never have seen when I was still a Christian. I have met some very decent people, it has exposed me to look. I'm friends with people from the US. I'm friends with right now talking to someone who is in Oslo. He's an atheist, right? I'm friends with you. We've done quite a few shows together, right? This is the first
Yes.
one we're doing. It has, and what more can you ask for? You see very decent people that, so if anything, being an atheist has been, I tell people, it's the best thing that could have happened to me. Living religion is one of the best things that could have happened to me, right? Because otherwise, if I hadn't made that bold step to leave religion, this conversation would never have happened. In a million years, it wouldn't.
Same. And if you asked earlier, what can we do? And I think something that atheists need to do wherever we are on the internet, but also in our local communities where we are based, we need to reclaim community. We need to show people it's not the Christian church who has the dominance of community. You can be part of a community even if you're not a Christian.
Yes.
We need to claim. We need to take back the fact that you don't need religion to be part of a community. We need to claim that. And if I can, I think I have so many stories to tell. My dad is 73. He was a fundamentalist, far right Christian for most of his life. And 5 years ago, under my influence, he deconverted. It's a long, complicated story. He's 73.
You're going to have to come and share this with us, either on your channel or you might come back in, whatever. I need to hear that story. A 73-year-old.
He is not. Yep. And right wing. He was a right wing Afrikaner, voted for the National Party. He wanted to become a minister in an Afrikaans fundamentalist church. He was a school principal. Wow. He's now an outspoken atheist at 73.
Wow.
And you know what he says? You know what he says? And sometimes he's bitter. Sometimes he says he has one regret. He regrets that he gave so much money to the church.
Oh.
And he regrets that he didn't experience the freedom and the happiness that he's experienced in the past 5 years of his life.
Gosh.
73.
Listen,
take that.
When you talk about the freedom. But before I talk about the freedom, Paul Scatler, thank you very much. We have a running joke here, Tersia. We have my church. I've got my own church.
Oh yes, you are the Lady of Perpetual Fleecing.
The Lady of Perpetual Fleecing, exactly. So, all hail.
I'm your high priestess. I'm your disciple. I'm your female apostle.
Because I trust you. Because I trust you, I'll make you treasurer.
Whoa! And Bob, and this is the God we pray to. You have to look at this.
All hail, our God Bob. All hail. That's right. Mm-hmm.
He's fast asleep. He's having so much fun. Oh my goodness, Esther! I hope your audience enjoyed this. It was
yes. I hope so. Well, I know so. I know they have. Right, guys?
And I hope I hope we can do this again. I'll get my dad. I'll tell him. I must get my dad, but his English is not good. He speaks English with a very Afrikaans accent.
Exactly. Right.
Okay, Bob.
Right.
I
have put your the link to your channel. One more time, I'll put it there. So, guys, She Tersia does do quite a bit of shows with what's the name of his channel now? John Richards
Free Thought Channel.
on the Free Thought channel, and a couple of other things. Do you do content on your channel, right?
I do, but I've been extremely busy because, Esther, I'm doing 2 big things this next year. Well, 3.
I know.
I'm
I
turning
think
50.
I think I know one of them.
Yeah, tell me.
The master's program.
Yes, so I'm studying for. I've enrolled for a master's degree in education, and with my friend Marlene, I'm starting a business. We are doing an educational. We call it Edu Studio because it's a center where anybody can come. Any child from the age of 11 to 18 who's studying on an online platform can come to our center, and I will be their teacher. And it doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Muslim, atheist, spiritual, non-spiritual. I want to teach children to think. And so we're starting this business. And that's why the office looks like this, because it's becoming a classroom.
Yay.
And that means that I'm very busy, but I want to put out a more educational content, specifically with a view of teaching young people to be skeptical, so that they don't fall victim to abuse and fake news, and so that they know how to be curious. Because if you're curious about how things will work, then you will not be fooled when a pastor says, I'm prophesying that you have a used green pepper in your fridge and 4 tomatoes. Because you will. Because.
Green used green.
Esther, maybe I can tell you one more very short thing. That my middle son is now 20, and when he was about 11 years old,
My son's 22. My first one.
Okay, when's his birthday?
Just gone. October.
Oh,
Gone.
Okay. But when he was 11, we'd already deconverted, and it was quite hard for the kids to be the children of the only parents in their school who didn't go to church. So it was difficult for them, and my daughter took it very, very hard. And one day we had a fight, my daughter and I, because she wanted me to go to church like all the other moms. And my son witnessed the fight. And when we were alone, I sort of wanted to ask him how he felt about it. And I said to him, so I'm sorry you had to witness your sister and I fighting about this. And I just want to know, how do you feel? Because I never indoctrinated my children. And he said, what do you mean? How do I feel? I said, so if you want to go to church and if you want to explore faith, I will go with you on that journey. And he looked at me and he said, Mom, if God exists and he wants us to believe in him, why doesn't he just come down to earth and say, I am God, here I am, believe in me?
He was 11? Did you say he was 11?
He was 11.
The mind of a child. Very simple. Very just straight to the point. Just make it make sense.
And you know what? I don't know, to this day, he's never told me that he's an atheist. It's just a non-issue in his life. He accepts his religious friends. He doesn't practice religion. He just tries to be decent to everybody. And if I can instill that value, I don't want to deconvert anybody or to deconvert any child. I just want them to say, God, if you exist, show me. If I tell a child, I am the master of the universe. I want that child to say to me, okay, explain that to me, please. How does that work? So,
Exactly.
Esther,
Right.
we've been going for
Oh,
2.5 hours.
yes.
It's
Before you finish, let me just read these comments. The first step is to recognize that you have a privilege you did not earn. You can be debt poor and unexpected. You have advantage just because of your skin color. About recognizing, and that's exactly what you have done here. You haven't sat here as a white South African and think, oh, I'm more knowledgeable than you. I'm more educated than you. I'm I'm in a higher class than you, right? But together, like you rightly said, we have somehow those boundaries, those things that people seek to divide people. We're saying no, enough of that. We want to unite people, and we are united in our lack of belief, right? So, and I love that saying, that you're good without God. God has done enough damage already in so many parts. And now we do not need God no more. It's time to get rid of that character.
But we
So
need one another.
we do.
We need one another.
We do. We do.
And that's fantastic. Because yeah. Oh, Esther, I had so much fun. Thank you.
I know this has been wonderful.
It
This has
has.
been
I hope we
wonderful.
can do it again.
Guys, all of you, thank you very much for coming to listen to two African women breaking it down about religion in Africa. We've got Phil in the back. Before we go, Phil, did you have anything to say? Phil has been in the back just working everything. So thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.
Did you
This
have
has
anything
been
to say?
really wonderful. A lot of what Teresa said resonate with me.
Tersia.
Tersia. I always, and I still can tell you, I always say you need to teach children how to think, not what to think. And that's the main thing. Because once they can think, they can solve problems a lot better, and not through Christianity or through religion, which they just accept everything. Yeah. So and by the way, I'm an educator also, science educator
Oh,
at
fantastic.
the
We'll
school.
connect. Phil, get my
Yeah.
email, get my WhatsApp. I'd love to connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. I like what you're doing. And by the way, a lot of teachers here in Barbados are Christian. They talk about thinking skills and so on, but when it comes to religion, to Christianity, that's one area they don't want you to think, especially.
Okay.
So,
What time is it? What time is it where you are, Tersia? Because I think it's time to let Tersia go.
Yeah.
It's 10:30.
Oh, okay. It's time to let Tersia go.
Yeah.
And guys, thank you all very much. Appreciate you all. Let's thank our channel members and supporters of the channel, everyone. Let's see, we've got Steve McRae manager, we've got Perilla Time, Jerome Lockhart, Udrak Adaduo, P, Shani for Life, Ian Davenport. Oh, Ian Davenport. Logan Fisher, Dr. Cyrus, Quelly Kush, Cynthia MacDonald, the Caribbean Skeptic Secularist, also known as Phil.
My buddy.
Steve. Our buddy, you mean? Our buddy, Swedish
I don't
Steve.
know. We're not going to fight over Swedish Steve now, are we?
Palaces 789. No, we can share. Can't we all just share?
We can share Swedish Steve. There's so much of him.
Exactly. We can each have a little piece of, but we'll leave the big piece for his wifey. Wifey has to have the big one. So, but me and you, we can have just a little piece of him. So,
Oh,
all
James,
right,
I
guys.
like that. Call in show,
What
James.
did James say?
James says we
Maybe
must do a
can
call-in
do.
show.
You show next time.
What's that?
We must do a
Call-in
call-in show.
show
Oh, a
next
calling
time.
show. That would be nice. That would be
Yeah.
nice. Oh, in the
I
meantime,
love that.
I saw a comment
Skype.
here that someone's going on a cruise next year. My girlfriend and I are going to link up on a cruise 3 times. Oh, how
In the
nice!
year. Whoa. Nice.
Oh,
Really nice.
can I tag along? That would be nice. Oh, tag along. Oh my.
Cruise.
See, everyone is saying they're happy for you. That's nice. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. My son my son wants my attention. So let me go sit with him and let's do mommy and son things for the rest of the evening before he goes to bed. Right. All right, guys. You all, thank you very much. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I've got a new channel. Okay, right.
Oh, yeah.
Before we all go, I've got a new channel, right? And Tersia, I need to quickly tell you about this, right? So Nigeria is a very, very religious country. Muslim and Christian. Atheism, it's not a thing. It's a very tiny number. And so how can we reach the Nigerian people? So what I've decided to do is to start so in Nigeria they speak what they call pidgin English, just broken English, right? It's everyone understands pidgin English. It's English, but spoken in the way they speak it over there. I speak it. I can speak it 100%. And so I've started it's the Pigeon Atheist. So and listen, it's just going to be me in my elements, just speaking about religion and saying, look, this is the better option. Just dump your listen, it's going to be no holds barred. There's no trying to be nice over there. It's going to be yeah. So I've put out just one video, and let me quickly I'll put the link if anyone's interested.
The link, yeah.
Pidgin English. It's yeah, you will understand it because it's English, but just it's like patois when you speak patois. Yeah, but then just the Nigerian version of just give me 1 second. Let me just put so that you guys can be kind enough. Well, if that's something that interests you, that's something you would like to see. It's completely different, but it is sort of the same sort of things I do here, but just in a different language.
My channel has lots of material in Afrikaans because not many Afrikaans speaking people are atheist. So, but people won't understand that. They might have a chance of understanding your pidgin English, but Afrikaans. So, but still, I'm doing it because one has to start somewhere.
That's right.
So I'm going to see if I can understand from a linguistic point of view. I'm going to see if I can understand your pidgin, because in South Africa we have what's called Fanagalo, which is it's basically pidgin English mixed with Zulu and isiXhosa. But it was spoken on the mines, on the gold mines and the coal mines, and it's called Fanagalo. So it's the same, but it's basically pidgin. Yep.
Right, let me see if I can find it. I've just tried to find it, but I can't seem to find it. But I'll just give me 1 second, guys.
How is this?
Because it's a really new channel, so it's not coming up
right.
on
So
the,
probably because it's trying to type. Because normally it doesn't take 24 hours for them to.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I found it, and just need to just get the link, and that's it. And we're done. Okay, guys, we're done.
It was lovely. It was lovely meeting you, Phil.
We'll
talk about education. I'd love to do some educational videos about living in the Caribbean and teaching in the Caribbean, and Esther, with you as well. Maybe with your kids, I can share with my students about life in the UK and getting them to think.
Yes. Yeah, but the Caribbean is similar to Africa, so in that sense.
Love
Okay,
you,
guys.
guys.
That's the link to the channel.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Good night, everyone. See
Good night.
you tomorrow
Night,
or whenever.
everyone.
But good night. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
That's the link. That's the link. Everyone, please go. So even if you don't watch, but just just go ahead and
Subscribe.
yes, do your girl a favor. Just put the subscriptions in there so the Nigerian people can wake up from their slumber.
Bye, everybody.
All right, guys.
Oh yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Do you have a moment? And this very second, I know you feel the beat. Do you feel the rhythm all the way? Can you see the vision? Everything in this world will be okay. Can we be together all the way? I know you feel this movement right here. You just be vibing, reaching for something within you. I know you feel this movement right here. You just be vibing, reaching for something within you. Nights in California, fly passing homes, yeah, right by sunset colored skies. Chilling by the ocean, driving up the mountain, soaked in the endless beauty all of you. You know it feels alright, alright, alright. Yeah. Can you see